To take your seats, that would be awesome. Well, this morning is always a little bit different in terms of our Africa feedback opportunity. There's a lot of feedback going on here. Where do you want me to stand? But what we're going to share this morning, there's so many things we could share with you, literally so many things, but just a few little opportunities, a little bit of testimony from a few of the group, and hopefully that it will encourage you and inspire you and encourage you all as a church. No matter the level of your involvement with what's going on out in Burkina Faso, I want to encourage you this morning that what you give, what you encourage is reaping an amazing benefit out in a place most of you have never, ever been to. So I want to encourage you and start with that this morning. We've got a little video which kind of gives you a little bit of a flavor before we share a little bit of testimony, just to put you into the atmosphere of where we've been for a couple of weeks. Thank you.
Night has fallen, when fear is coming, still you're calling me. When faith is lost and my hope exhausted, you will be my strength. When my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. Yeah, I've decided you won't give up on me. You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go now. I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my soul. Oh,
Great stuff. Thanks, Naomi, for putting that together so quickly. Well, there's lots of laughter, lots of hilarity on a trip like that. There's a few tears, which is inevitable, and lots of diarrhea in this last year, just in case no one chooses to give a bit of testimony to that fact. But it's a great opportunity at so many levels. And I'm going to invite Josh up this morning, who's going to be the first of our team to give a little bit of testimony, a bit of feedback as to how this trip was for him. Josh is, come on up, Josh. Let's welcome Josh. This place isn't unfamiliar to Josh because he's done the last few years of schooling with Darcy, his girlfriend, who's here this morning as well, and Naomi, and Zoe, and Henry. I can't see you, but they're around here. So welcome, Josh. Let's have a few of your thoughts around your time in Burkina.
Thank you. Hello. I am the guy that was hanging from the tree. That's me. I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about my experience. And the kids that were out there and how they sort of impacted us. So I'll start by saying how privileged I feel to be able to go out there. It was an awesome experience, and I recommend it to any of you. But really, for me, the experience was made by the team that went out and the kids that were out there and the people we met. Those relationships that we built were pretty spectacular, and you'll never forget them for the rest of your life. So I sponsor a kid out there called Isaka, and I don't know if the picture's up there, but yeah, there it is. So Isaka is the one with the yellow shoes. And the one to the right of me, that is Issa. That's Henry's sponsor kid. And yeah, meeting them was pretty amazing. We obviously, I know a lot of you sponsor kids out there, and having the opportunity to meet them and see where they live was really, really good. It made me realize how sheltered I was to live in an island like Jersey. Honestly, like my sponsor kid's home was a little box in comparison to where we live. Next photograph. So these are some of the kids that were at the site where we were doing the building work. And that's me dancing around with a load of kids. Yeah, I was the wacky one of the trip. I think I annoyed a few people, to be honest. Cheers, guys. But yeah, like meeting all the kids on site was amazing. Like, you don't need to speak their language to get along with them. Purely just, whether it's making like sign language or like noises, anything, like you will feel like you've been friends with them for your whole life. It doesn't matter how long you've known them, and language is no barrier, for sure. I don't know if there's one last photograph. That was on I think it was our last day on site. That boy there, his name is Yaya. He was a bit of a crowd favorite over there. We all loved him. He was such a small little kid, and he was so funny. So yeah, that's him with my gloves on. They'd suit him. I think they're like bigger than him. But yeah, I think I'm about done. But yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Well done, Josh. Thank you. Josh was indeed great fun on the trip. We loved his dancing. And as he said, it is so much about the whole team experience too out there, the dynamics. Not often you get to live 24/7 with people when they're vomiting and diarrheaing at the same time. It's great. Start to know who your friends are. Nita. Let's welcome Anita. Yeah, it's a long road from down there. Thought you were going to jump on the stage, Nita. Yeah.
Hi guys. So I just wanted to highlight two parts to my share this morning. One of them's around my emotions and feelings, and the other one was quite practical. So I'm going to give you a scenario. A couple of weeks ago, it's 9 a.m. Sunday morning, time to get up for church, Sean says, but I want to stay in bed. I mean, it's cold for starters. Last time I looked at the temperature, it was 35 degrees. Cold. I'm tired, just travelled over 30 hours, and on those really comfy economy seats in the plane, yeah, just dozing, so, full of cold, which actually could be bird flu, which is way worse than man flu, of course. So you get the picture. I'm proper feeling sorry for myself. So my procrastination and moaning to myself has now taken me to 9:30. Now Sean is moaning at me. So, okay, got to get a shower. Think to myself, come on, the rest of the team will be there, all bright and breezy. Oh, joy. Feel really bright and breezy today, don't I? Not. So, drag myself, kicking and screaming to the shower, thinking this will help. So as I'm showering, even more red dust is coming off in the shower. I would like to just add, we did shower. We did have the luxuries of shower, cold as they might have been, but on the trip we had them. But this red dust, it kind of gets everywhere. And my feet, apparently, aren't tanned. They're just dirty, full of red dust. Anyway, it's during my shower that I have two memories that quite really strongly come to my mind. The first one being Pastor Samuel. So bearing in mind that this time last week, we'd already been in church for an hour and a half, at 9:30, and unknowingly had a further 2 hours to go. And Pastor Samuel was there. But on the Saturday, we'd been told that Pastor Samuel had malaria. So he was there at church on the Sunday, and he actually had malaria. So he was proper sick. So bird flu and man flu not in sight, but he made it to church. Okay, fine. So the second was, my second memory was a couple of the team's sponsored children who lived near the school project where we were, had actually walked to church to see us and to go to church. And this was probably about 5 kilometres away, which is quite a long way for little legs. It's quite a long way for me, but it's quite a long way for little legs. And it's not cold, it's warm. So to walk all that way in the heat, and in fact, most people have probably walked to church that morning, all dressed up like this. And it's normal practice. It's not a chore at all. So these two memories totally kick my butt, to be fair. So I tell myself I will go to church today with a joyful heart. And we get there. One of the songs we sang that morning was, I can't remember which one it was, but it was sang to us in French the week before and at Temple Elim. And I was like, mate, we are over 2,500 miles away from Burkina Faso. And in the space of a week, we're still singing the same worship songs to the same amazing God. And I was just like completely blown away with that. So that was kind of my emotions and feelings around it. So I'm kind of hoping the next time I don't feel like getting up on a Sunday morning and it all feels a bit of a chore, that I'm reminded that people thousands and thousands of miles away overcome bigger hurdles to get to church. And it's not a chore, and they do it with joyful hearts. So this was my emotional reality check from the trip, really. So the practical thing I want to talk about is the compassion staff. I'm the kind of person who's a bit backgroundy, to say the least. Don't really like doing this sort of thing. So I tend to notice the background things that go on. And so I just want to talk about the compassion staff, but one in particular, and his name was Isaac. If I could see a picture of Isaac. So this is Isaac. He was just always there. Wherever we went, whatever we were doing, it just worked all the time, whatever needed, it just helping us, helping with the kids that were at the school, the kids that came to see us because they weren't at school. He was just always there. Whatever we did, he was there. And with the compassion children, and please remember there's like 514 of these children, he knows every single one of them. And he goes above and beyond. The whole team does, but Isaac definitely did. And I've got two examples of this. One of them is our sponsor child, which is Abdul, and that's the next picture, please. So this is Abdul. This is us visiting Abdul. Now, he's 8. He comes from a Muslim family. He's got 2 older brothers that go to an Arabic school. So the father doesn't think that Abdul needs to go to school, basically, because the brothers can teach him. They've got a blackboard up in their garden area to teach him. But by going to an Arabic school, that means that they're not taught French. The kids aren't taught French, they're taught Arabic. And as Burkina's national language is French, Arabic doesn't really get them very far in their country. But Isaac, we found out afterwards, had spent time with the family, encouraged the father to let him be sponsored, Abdul be sponsored, and to go to school. So he's a little bit behind because he's 8, and you start school at 6, but he's now going to school, which is just fantastic. And I know that that was the encouragement from Isaac. Abdul's yet to attend a Compassion Day on a Saturday, but we know, we walked away, Sean and I walked away, that Isaac won't give up. He won't give up getting him there. He'll keep encouraging, he'll keep visiting the family, and then the rest, Sean and I can just pray about that, God helps him along his way. And the other example we've got is, my other picture is, this is a young man called Idris. And he was beautiful. He's 13. Spent most of the 2 weeks we were there with us. Couldn't speak any French, so we had Abdul, one of the other guys, translating our pidgin French to his language of Jula. We didn't really get very far. We didn't really find out much about him, apart from that he didn't go to school. But on the day we were to leave, he got extremely upset, really sobbing. And one of the team had wanted to pay for him to go to school. But he'd said earlier in the week that he didn't want that to Samuel, so we were like, okay, fine. On this last day, he was beside himself. So we tried to talk to him. A couple of the team tried to talk to him. And a couple of the school staff tried to talk to him. And we established that he actually did want to go to school. But there was something else going on. And that's where Isaac came along. He came along, figured out what we were trying to do, what we were trying to establish, and he just knew the right questions to ask. And that's kind of my point. He managed to get more information out of him in one conversation than we had in 2 weeks by asking the right questions, because he understands the situations he could be in. He gets the culture. I think that's what I'm trying to say. And so he found out for us that he was living with his brother, who was a master in the local Arabic school, complete devout Muslim, and they were part of a gang. And this is quite evident by the scar on his cheek. But we didn't know that, obviously. So really, Idris should have actually been out begging, and that going to a Christian school that Samuel's is a complete no-no. It's completely out of the question. It would look really bad on his brother, and you can imagine what happens. So, but none of us were wanting to give up on him. But the Compassion team, Isaac and Pastor Samuel's son, have all said to us that they will visit the brother and look into options for him, for maybe an apprenticeship and things like that. But I know we can walk away, we can get on a plane, and I know that the Compassion team will do their ultimate best for him and not put him in any danger. As heartbreaking as it is, we know you can do it. So what I really wanted to share was to assure anyone who does already or is thinking about sponsoring a child, especially in our project, BF 0502, I wanted you to know that firsthand I've witnessed that these Compassion team, or the Compassion team out there, will look after, they care for, they encourage the kids to have dreams. They're fought for against strongholds within families and gangs. They're taught the Bible, and they're reminded often that God loves them and all things are possible. So they go above and beyond what they are paid to do. But the greatest of all I found is that they do it with joy and care and passion for their kids to have a future. We met some of the teenagers in the Compassion Day, and they want to be hairdressers and teachers and doctors and nurses. And one of them even wanted to be an international judge. When we met our little boy Abdul, Sean asked him what he wanted to be, and his answer was a trader. I can't wait to see him in 5 years' time and say, now what do you want to be? Because he's gone to Compassion, And I know and can trust that the team will encourage him to dream for bigger things. So for as little as 85 pence a day, we can help change a child's life forever.
Thanks, Neats.
Thanks, Neats. Well, I'm going to ask Shaun to come up. Some of you may not have realised, but this was Shaun and Anita's honeymoon that they spent in Burkina.
Morning. My wife had me in tears there. I'm just got to clear my eyes. Well done, Neats. Well done. Could I have the first photo, please? Now, that is me being from a building background. That, to me, sums it. He just fell down the trench with the wheelbarrow, and he was just getting out with his bucket with a big smile on his face, and notice flip-flops. Now, health and safety is straight out the window. And the thing that struck me is the pom-pom hat. It's 40 degrees, and he's got a pom-pom hat. And they're just... Me and Andrew were a lot more involved with the builders, Pascal and all the others, and they're just incredible. They can work in the heat. All the holes that are dug for the trenches that you've seen on the video are all hand dug, yeah. And it's not easy, you know. And it really impacts me. Being in the building trade, we use all the machinery and things like that, doing all this by hand, yeah, and just incredible. Could I have the next slide, please? That's me with Christine. I can't remember the other girl's name, but that girl in the middle, Christine, incredible girl. Her English is so much better than my French, and she was constantly like translating to all the kids for me and all that. But it just sums it all up. Their happy faces and big smiles and awesome. And the last slide, please. That is the official honeymoon photograph. Now, some people think a honeymoon would be sitting on a sun lounger with a pina colada, sun blazing down. No, not me and Neats. We have to be different. But to me, that does it for me. And I think now, that's my idea of a honeymoon, you know. And, yeah. Down and dirty. Okay, thank you very much. All right.
Thanks, Sean.
Diane, an old-timer. I'm allowed to say that she is my older sister, okay?
I've been told my younger brother have to do this very quickly, but tough because I've got the mic now. So I just wanted to talk about one of the highlights of the trip for me. But to do that, we need to shoot back to last year, because the project that we did last year was to build 3 classes for the nursery and the pregnancy care unit. Marie, could we have the first photo, please? So this is how we left the child survival program, as it's now known, when we left in November 2017. So it was one of only 3 being trialled by Compassion in the whole of Bobo, as the project is being run so well by Theodore and his team, as Anita's already spoken about. You know, the first few years of a child's life are vital to their development, and through the child survival program, the most vulnerable children are reached before they've even been born. And Compassion, in partnership with Samuel's Church, Temple Elim, take the most vulnerable pregnant women in their community into the project and give them and their children the best possible start in their life. And they ensure that the mothers are equipped to deal with their babies. So why is child survival so important? You know, there's a shocking statistic that every day 17,000 children die That's every day. 17,000 children die under the age of 5 and mostly because of completely preventable diseases. It's heartbreaking and it's not right, because the simplest interventions like basic health care, hygiene and sanitation, vaccinations, nutritious food, and access to safe water could have prevented these deaths. That's the reason that the Child Survival Programme works. The project tries to reach the babies and their families early, as I say, even before they've been born, if possible. So what's provided? So Temple Elim and Compassion provide one-to-one pregnancy and parenting support with access to healthcare specialists. They ensure pregnant mums have access to pre- and postnatal checkups, childbirth assistance, and they also ensure that the family receive essentials like nappies and blankets, clothing and hygiene products. But the mums themselves have a very close support network because they're facing the same fears in the same circumstances. And they also have access to clean water and the correct nutrition. But they also have something else that so many others don't have, and that's the support of the Compassion staff and all the church volunteers who love them and care for them in their situation. So once the child gets to 1, they move out of this project into the main Compassion project, where they get sponsored. And I know that some of you in this church and some of you that are here today sponsor those 1-year-old babies. Last year we met the first intake of ladies, one of whom, and if we can have a look on the next photo, Marie, please, were Madeline and Joel. This couple had lost 4 babies over 14 years. We prayed with them, but the sorrow, you could feel the sorrow and the heartbreak in them because they had lost so many babies. So, shoot forward to this year, and this is what the nursery and child survival unit look like now. It's all finished and it's being run, and there's 20 women regularly meeting in the unit for their antenatal care and postnatal care. And of those, we've got now 9 baby boys and 5 baby girls. 6 are still to deliver, which is fantastic. The unit works on a rolling project, so once the child gets to 1, a new mother is taken in who's pregnant. The baby who's 1, they and their mother still get support, but not on a less regular basis. So, this year we spent an afternoon giving manicures and pedicures to all the ladies in the project, and you'll see that on the next photo. This was amazing and a fantastic time to spend with the women here. So thank you to all those who donated nail varnishes and creams, because we've left them there and they continue to treat each other. But my highlight, I was so pleased, humbled, overwhelmed to get to wash the hands and feet of Madeline, the next photo please, who had lost 4 babies, and this is her baby Joseph. So we went to a Compassion feedback evening, and Madeline and Joel gave testimony, and the next photo please, Marie. Without Compassion, things would have been very different. Madeline had to have a cesarean, so if she hadn't been within this project, it's doubtful that Joseph would have been born alive. And also, she needs to feed by a bottle. She can't breastfeed, so Compassion sort out all the baby formula for her. You know, a lot of Africans don't show a lot of emotion with their children, but Madeline and Joel were just amazing. They were like no other African couple with their child. This baby is so loved, and it's just amazing to see them. Just finally, the last photo, Marie, please. We managed to take 6 treadle sewing machines in the container with us. This is Theodore, who's a fantastic guy and runs the Compassion Project. So we've decided, and thank you to all those who donated, to leave the treadle sewing machines with this project. The ladies will be taught how to sew. They will have lessons And then they'll have access to the sewing machines so that they can learn to make a living and sell the garments that they make to make a better life for themselves and their babies. So please, as Anita said, whatever you do to support compassion, it's amazing, and it is life-saving and life-changing. Thank you.
That's great, thank you. There are so many stories that we could share, and in closing, as I wrap up this morning, I want to put one slide on the wall, if I can, and just point you to a couple of the pictures, because I want us to understand that everybody in this room, okay, listen to me carefully, everybody in this room enables the stories that you've heard, or some of the stories that you've heard this morning. Whether you've encouraged somebody to go, whether you've prayed for the team when they've been out there, or the team that continue to work out there, whether you've come physically yourself, whether you've given financially to support someone, or whether you are giving to sponsor a child, or whether you've come to the ball to raise money, all of you are helping to make a huge difference in the lives of those individuals in that community called Bobo Dioulasso, in and around that school. The picture on the top left is a picture we see all the time there. Now, when we bought the land in 2013, there was virtually not a child in the area. And I do remember questioning Samuel, Samuel, is this the wisest place to build a school? He says, build it and they will come. And they built the school, and now there are over 300 children in the school, filling the primary school. This year we were building, we didn't build much of it, but we are initiating and facilitating the building of the secondary school. With what church you and the people of Jersey have been connected to and given to in these last few years, there are over 800, well, there's over 514 children in the Compassion Project. Can you leave the slide up, please? Thanks. The man in the middle on the top row, he's the grandfather of one of the children that we sponsor personally as a family. In 2016, he had to have his first leg amputated. 2017, he had his second leg amputated. He's the primary carer along with his wife for his grandchild. When we went this year, I've seen them obviously over the last few years, and my heart just went out to them in terms of the responsibility they had for their grandchildren in raising them. And here he was, the primary provider, and having lost both of his legs. We were enabled this year to take out a little mobility scooter in the container. And there isn't time this morning, but presented him with this little mobility scooter. And I tell you, words can't explain his appreciation in that moment. He said to me, this is what he said to me: today I have received my legs back. He shuffled himself onto the mobility scooter and went out his, let's say, little courtyard, down the dirt track, absolutely overjoyed that he was now going to be able to go and visit his neighbors and so forth. But you are all part in that. You may think that what you can bring is insignificant, but I want to encourage you that the little bit, whatever that may be, is having a huge impact on the lives of so many across the world, even though you may never see them. I want to encourage you to continue to give. There are people who are not even part of the church. If you take the picture right in the middle, a whole bunch of children eating food. Every day, it's one of the only projects where it exists. All the children in that school now, over 300 of them, are getting a good, healthy meal every day. Because schools do not provide food. But children are coming to school so hungry that they cannot learn. Anybody who's in education realizes that you need, in order to be able to concentrate on what you're doing, you need nutritious food in your body. These children now are being provided with a meal every day that's financed by people from this island. Bottom left-hand corner, water, the well that's been put in place. We take water and fresh, clean water so much for granted. These kids have access to a standpipe now, which is just amazing. there's still 2 billion people, 2 billion people that are drinking water in the world today that is contaminated with feces. Those are statistics. So access to clean water is so vital because hundreds of thousands of people, predominantly children, are dying every year through waterborne diseases. So just the opportunity of being able to put, you church and people beyond here have helped to do that. So thank you in whatever way you've been able to give, because what you are bringing is definitely making a difference. I can't encourage you enough on that point. Even if you never get there, please hear my heart that you are enabling and helping to make a huge difference in the lives of so many. There's so many other stories beyond what you see there. If you sponsor a child, the bottom picture in the middle, writing letters, is so crucial and vital. I encourage you to continue to write. You know, it's humbling when you walk into a mud hut and the only thing that they have on the wall of their mud hut is the letter that they have received from their sponsor. Imagine a room 9 foot square, a mud brick building with your letter stuck to the wall. Such is the value that they place on that level of communication. So whatever you write, it is a huge encouragement. You are helping to inspire another generation. So thank you, and please continue to do so. I know sometimes when we get letters back, we might think, oh, it doesn't really say a whole lot. Please, from what I have seen with my own eyes, from what we experience every time, your letters go way beyond what you can ever imagine. So thank you, church. I know you give to so much. As a church, we give over £50,000 to what's happening out there a year, which is phenomenal. And believe you me, it is making life-changing differences. Bottom right-hand corner, little girl that we sponsor, the one where you can see the teeth. Sorry, because the picture's not brilliant. My fault. She gave her life to the Lord this year. That's Jeanette. In January, she wrote to us and said, "Thank you. I've become a Christian." And that's awesome. Can't ask for better than that. And that was such a joy, and we were able to chat with her when we got there and saw her again. So thank you, church, for all that you continue to invest in. There's a million other stories I'd love to share with you, but time has beaten us, and it's important that we continue to remember why we're here. We're doing all of this. We're involved in this partnership across the world because of Jesus. Being able to stand with brothers and sisters with a different skin color to ourselves, but have a heart exactly the same, who worship the same living Jesus. And I'm grateful that Samuel, as you see there in the middle on the left-hand side, Samuel is a continuum in that community as a man who brings good news to the people, a man who's had such amazing vision. And over all these years, as we've been able to partner with him, walk alongside him, facilitate that vision, we're seeing a whole community transformed. So we're going to continue to worship, in a sense, out of a response of thankfulness. That there is so much, you know, it's so easy. When we think of the word Africa, our Western mindset often immediately goes to the poverty and all the disastrous things are happening. That is true. But I want this morning to be an indication and an opportunity to celebrate for all the good that is happening, for all the changes that are taking place, for the levels of poverty that are decreasing, for lives that are being sponsored, that are being given hope, for lives that are being saved, for infrastructure that is being developed. There is much to give thanks to God for. So as we stand and as we worship, let's give thanks to God in true African style. Now don't forget, let's be not having any of this. Let's have some real movement like we're excited. Now I've seen some of you dance on that video, And I've seen some of you dance at a football match and other things. So let's celebrate together. Thanks.